Umar Khalid, former Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, has said, and I quote, "They've been inside for 5 years. I'm not criticizing any court. You can impose condition to ensure that the conditions for bail are not abused, but you must take into consideration that they have the right for the trial. And if the trial is not possible under the present condition, then bail should be the rule and not the exception." And that is what the former Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, has said in an interview, supporting Umar Khalid, saying that bail should be the rule and not the exception. Listen in to what he said.
They've been inside for 5 years. I'm not criticizing my court. You can understand my hesitation in criticizing my court because I was part of the institution which I was leading just last year. Each one of these principles which I have mentioned does point to the fact that you can impose conditions to ensure that the conditions for bail are not abused, but you must necessarily take into consideration that they have the right to an expeditious trial, and if an expeditious trial is not possible under present conditions, then bail should be the rule and not the exception.
For more on this, let me go across to my colleague Harish, who's been tracking all the details. Harish, D.Y. Chandrachud, the former Chief Justice of India, has said that as far as Umar Khalid is concerned, bail should be the rule and not the exception. But very important to point out here is that this is not the first time that he's come out in support of the Delhi riots mastermind, Umar Khalid.
Yes, good morning, Akanksha. And this comments coming in from a former Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, at a time when there is a lot of furor over denial of bail to Omar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam. At the same time, Supreme Court granting bail to other 5 accused in the Delhi riots case, citing their prolonged incarceration. Justice Chandrachud, in fact, once again re-emphasizing the dictum, a principle of bail should be the norm and jail an exception. Justice Chandrachud also highlighting the fact that they have already spent 5 years in jail. One of the most important argument their lawyers had emphasized.
And also to mention that this is not the first time that he has come out in support of Umar Khalid. Stay on with us, Harish. Let me go across to Rashid Alvi of the Congress Party. Thank you so much, sir, for connecting with us here on Times Now. How do you look at this reaction that is coming from D.Y. Chandrachud, our former Chief Justice? He has said that bail should be the rule and not the exception. And if a speedy trial is not possible, then bail should be given to Umar Khalid.
You know what Chandrachud ji has said. It is not only his opinion. Now, everybody is thinking like this, that Umar Khalid and his friend, they are unable to get justice. And an impression has gone. You have just said mastermind. He is not mastermind. He is the victim of the system of the law. How can you say that he was the masterminded of communal life?
So, but we are not saying it. This is what the Supreme Court and several courts have said over the last 5 years, that he's the main mastermind of the case. There was a conspiracy that he, along with several others, they hatched, and that led to the Delhi riots. And this is not something that we are saying. This is what the courts have said over the last 5 years.
I have heard his speech, and there is nothing wrong in that speech. What I'm saying, it is unprecedented. For last 5 years, someone is behind the bars, trial has not started. And Supreme Court says that you cannot come back again to get bail within 1 year. So what is this? It is injustice. And it is not only me. Most of the people of the country and even outside the country.
Okay.
People are thinking like this. And so many leaders, so many common men, and even so many persons from outside, from every corner of the world are raising questions about our judicial system. So it is very unfortunate whatever is happening with Umar Khalid and his friend.
All right. So the Congress Party also supporting what the former CJI said, that he is not the mastermind. The Umar Khalid is not the mastermind. In fact, he should be granted bail. Thanks so much, sir, for connecting with us. I'm also joined by Tom Wadakan of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Thank you so much, sir, for connecting with us. How do you look at the statement that has been given by former Chief Justice of India? He has come out in support of Umar Khalid, saying that if the speedy trial in this case is not possible, then he should be granted bail.
This matter is sub judice, and I think it's not appropriate for any political party to comment on this matter. The wisdom of the Supreme Court is the most important thing. The CJI has his view as an independent Indian citizen, and former CJI is given his own opinion. Now, whether the opinion holds good or can hold water is something that the judicial wisdom will exercise. Now, as to the question of the ecosystem's reaction, the situation is we have seen the visuals, we have seen his course of action, and if he comes out, what are the issues that can arise? So if he is such a strong ecosystem supporting him, including political parties, especially the Congress party, which is unnecessarily interfering in the judicial process, let judiciary law should take its own course. In the wisdom, it is a matter that the court will exercise. CJI is the former CJI could have exercised his view when he was in that chair, but he has not exercised it at that juncture, and now he's expressed something which is something that is his personal view. Be what it may, let judiciary take its time and in wisdom and national interest decide on this case.
Absolutely. And Congress party, on the other hand, has said that he's not the mastermind of the case and should be granted bail. But the courts are quite clear that, in fact, he should be now behind the bar, and bail was not granted to him just a few days back. Thank you so much, sir, for connecting with us. Let me once again bring in my colleague Harish. Harish, take us through what the former CJI has said, because he has mentioned Umar Khalid several times in the last few years. Take us through what he has said so far.
Yes, that's right, Akanksha. In fact, former Chief Justice Chandrachud is once again emphasizing the fact that bail should be the norm and jail an exception, especially in this case where he has already underwent 5 years in jail and the trial has not even begun. So he's questioning why bail can be granted with conditions, and say that if the bail conditions are violated, the prosecution can move the court for cancellation of bail. But again, Supreme Court had said that there is prima facie they are convinced that Omar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam are the kingpin mastermind of this entire violence. They were involved in planning, mobilization, and strategic planning to conduct the riots, which culminated in the death of 58 people. And the Supreme Court had said that when a special statute like UAPA had been enacted, there is a provision, so we'll have to bow to the wishes of the Parliament, and therefore there was prima facie evidence in the material forwarded by the prosecution, which proves that prima facie all the charges are established against Umar Khalid, and that is fine. And there is also a ground of unity, integrity, sovereignty, and attack on the nation, attack against India. So that is the prima facie ground the Supreme Court had taken. So Chandrachud again saying that, of course, after they have spent 5 years in jail, before a conviction, bail is a right of an accused. But again, the court has the power to examine whether granting bail in such cases, or whether there is any danger to the integrity, national unity, and sovereignty of the country. All that is the prerogative of the court. But again, since they have already spent 5 years in jail, bail could have been granted by imposing certain harsh conditions.
Absolutely. And former CJI has said that if there cannot be a speedy trial, then there should be bail conditions, and Umar Khalid as well as the other accused should be granted bail. But over the last few years, Supreme Court and other courts have differed. They have called all these accused mastermind that led to a Delhi riots in 2020. Thanks so much, Harish, for all the details. With this, a short break.